Welcome back. We are less than 2 weeks out from the first presidential debate in the primary cycle for 2024. A long line of Republican hopefuls will take the stage in Milwaukee on August 23rd. Heavily involved in that, the conservative group Young Americans Foundation. Our political reporter spoke to former Wisconsin governor and YAF head Scott Walker about the prep.
So I want to set the stage for our viewers a little bit here, take you back to September 2015 when you yourself were running for president. As we're about 2 weeks out now, what's going through the candidates' minds ahead of this debate?
Oh, they're being pumped up. I was, ironically, it was almost exactly the same time. In fact, I went from the opening of the Wisconsin State Fair to Cleveland for the first debate. That, of course, was the home of the 2016 convention. Now Milwaukee is the home of the 2024 convention. So the first debate's going to be right here in our beloved home state. And candidates are getting pumped up. They're excited. And hopefully for the ones I think will do well, they're realizing they can't be over-programmed. They got to come in and be themselves, not just rehearse punchlines that they're going to use, but actually be able to respond and react to both the moderators and to the other candidates.
And so one of the biggest will they, won't they questions is whether former President Donald Trump will appear at this debate. Do you have any sense of whether he will or whether he should?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows, including him yet. He may be waiting to decide, but conventional wisdom would suggest that he should not because he's so far ahead. But Donald Trump's never been a conventional candidate. I think quite the contrary. I think he should come. I think he's a prize fighter, and a prize fighter belongs in the ring defending his title. And I actually think that if I were advising him, I'd tell him to go because I've seen him firsthand the way he was in those first couple debates when I stood next to him. This guy took charge. He basically took over the debate, not only from the other candidates, but from the moderators. If he did that again and laid out a clear vision, I think he'd wrap the primary election up. On the flip side, if he doesn't come, somebody else, whether it's Ron DeSantis or one of the other candidates, has a really shining performance, that could end up opening the door towards that person making up some ground on the president.
So now, Governor, you yourself have had kind of a unique role in helping put on this debate with Young America's Foundation. Can you describe what's been going into all of that debate prep?
Yeah, we're happy to be a partner with this. The first debate, of course, pleased that it's in Wisconsin. But for us, it's really about connecting younger voters. We actually had Fox News, will be the broadcast lead on this, come to our national college conference and film students there, take questions that they would like to hear from the candidates. Now, they're obviously not going to be able to play all of those, but we expect that a fair number of those video clips will be a part of the debate on the 23rd in Milwaukee. We think they're reflective of students and young people all across the country. And we know I've been like Paul Revere out issuing the warning that if conservatives are going to do well in the future, they've got to make inroads with younger voters. 18 to 29-year-olds really stopped the red wave last year. I think that was because of a disconnect. It starts not just in elections, but long before. That's the work we're doing at Young America's Foundation. But we know we're not afraid. I've said repeatedly, I'm not afraid of younger voters. I'm just afraid that right now, too many of those voters haven't heard the full story. And so it's up to us to level the playing field. And if we do, I think we're going to make some inroads with younger voters.
Do you have any plans to endorse in this primary, or should we talk to you after the debate about any kind of endorsement that you might be doing?
I'm certainly not in conjunction with the primaries, and I know a lot of those candidates very well. So for me, it's a perfect spot to be in a neutral position, not helping any of the campaigns, but working with the party and with, in this case, Fox News, to hopefully get the best debate possible.
And so we've heard a little bit through the rumor mill that the DeSantis campaign might be tapping Assembly Speaker Robin Vos to work in Wisconsin. Are there going to be any other Wisconsin ties to some of these national candidates that you might have on the horizon for us?
Well, I think they're smart. They get it that if you want to win the presidency, you got to be in Wisconsin. So I would expect that the visits on the 23rd will be the first of many, not only between now and November, but between now and the beginning of the primary process. Obviously, Iowa and New Hampshire is the traditional first caucus and primary, but I think you'll find a lot of candidates will find their way from Iowa over to Wisconsin, knowing just how important it is, both in the primary, but particularly in the general election cycle.
So for viewers at home who are going to be watching this debate, anything that they should do, like research on, anything that you'd want them to be prepped for heading into this debate that they should listen for when these candidates speak at the podium?
Yeah, I think that the bottom line is knowing a bit about each of their backgrounds, so that you, not because you want to go backwards, but so that you know who's actually gotten things done. It's one thing to talk about stuff, it's another thing to actually deliver. And then I think the thing really to watch for is which of the candidates is the most aggressive while still being believable. I think the mistake that candidates make is either extreme. Either they come out so aggressive, so wild that people don't believe them, or that they're very believable, but they're low key. They're just riding on their reputation, and that's something I found out firsthand. That just doesn't work in debates and in the campaign overall. That you can have the greatest record possible. And when I ran 8 years ago, there were a lot of primary voters, even are today, who love what we did in Wisconsin, admire what we did in Wisconsin. But then you have to translate that into clearly articulating messages about what you'll do as president.
Governor Walker, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Again, that was Will Keneally with former Governor Scott Walker. We will be right back.